Hey, what's up? Otaku Mike here. Let's talk about Exquisite Corpses issue number 1. Warning, there will be spoilers. So let's see if I can explain this, because there's a lot to go on in this book, just saying. So our story starts out in Oak Valley, which is a small town nobody's really heard about, and the sheriff basically walks away from the town and gets a new identity, new everything for like $10 million or something like that. And these people come in, these 13 families come in and basically set up this game that they're going to play over the night of Halloween, where they have basically been running the country ever since like 1776, I believe. And every 5 years, they hold this like game to see. They get 13 killers, and each one has a specific weapon that they have to use, and the families pick these killers in this game. So we get to actually see all the families in this and all their killers that they actually choose. Some of them are professional killers, some are serial killers, but they end up using things like one uses rope, one uses explosives, one uses fire, one uses like archery, stuff like that. So they all are stuck to this specific weapon that they have to use. Interspersed in that is actually, we end up seeing the family of Massachusetts, and they end up going to this one person named Torres, who actually is a disgraced soldier. I believe he did like black ops and stuff like that. They want him for the game, and we find out they want him to play a very moral game, an honorable game, I guess you could say, to where he actually does not kill any innocent people. He just goes after all the other 12 killers in this specific game, because we see actually with some of the families in this, they actually take side bets in this to see how many people the specific killers can actually kill. So, like, the town doesn't really know exactly what's going on. We do see sporadically throughout this particular issue of certain characters or people within this town, going about their day and being affected by what exactly is going on. This very much is just setup. We start to see the game at the end of this, but it does tell a really interesting story moving forward. All right, so let's take a look at the internal artwork for this. Here is your massive creative team. I would like to know who the corpse crew are and what do they do. Just saying. I think that's kind of funny. But the artwork in this is actually, I feel like it's very good. It has its own distinct art style, I feel like. And a couple of scenes, I felt like it was a little Mike Mignola-esque, especially at the beginning, how they use like the shading and stuff on this. That's what it kind of felt like, but very indie Vertigo-esque title, I feel like, art-wise. It's pretty well done, I feel like. I love all the different colors that they used in this, all of the warm colors and like a lot of the cool colors and stuff, and how it seemed to like transition between like when we were with the families and like with like the townsfolk, and how that kind of like plays with each other and stuff. But we do get some pretty cool shots, little splashes of the killers who are going to be in this game, which is a lot of fun. We get a lot of scenes with all of the townsfolk in this particular issue, which is it's very fun and whatnot. But yeah, man, whenever we see like the splash pages for these killers, they're all kind of like fun and a little morbid, I feel like. I really want to know more about Rascal Randy. He seems pretty interesting. He's like a serial killer who kills people in a mascot costume, and in this one, he can only use his hands to kill people, which I find that pretty cool. And I want to know what the nurse is going to do. Yeah, they end up with some really interesting characters in this particular, like the ones that they choose, to be exact, which I am all here for. Like, this is going to be a fun ride, I feel like, moving forward in this. And we do get some action here and there in this. Not too much, but looks like it's going to be a very gory book whenever we get into that part of the story art-wise, because they don't really truly seem to pull a lot of punches, if you know what I mean. I just have to say, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this first issue. This was a mammoth sized issue, triple sized to be exact. I'm very curious to see if the other issues after this will be this size, because man, I don't want to say it was a daunting read, but it was definitely a read. But it did feel like it went by pretty fast for the most part. I'm really interested to see where this story is going to go with how the townspeople are going to be affected by these killers and this game that's going to happen, and what's going to happen moving forward with I want to say he's probably our eyes and our main character into this series is possibly Torres. They put a very big emphasis on him in this first issue, and I'm really interested to see what he does in this and how he's going to affect the games, and probably more his backstory and about what exactly is going on with him. They do touch on it slightly in this. I do have to say, my one little nitpick, it was more with the pacing of this issue, because there was a lot crammed into it, was the fact when we spend some time with the townspeople of this town, I do feel like it slowly, like, sort of dragged the issue. But I do feel like things started to pick up after we moved away from them. I do feel like they're possibly going to be a big part of this story moving forward. They sort of put a big emphasis on the specific paramedic in this first issue towards the end, because she seemed to be connected to the sheriff at the beginning of this book. And it left me with so many questions, and I am here for it. It is a fun, crazy read. There isn't much action in this first issue, but when it gets going, and it gets violent pretty fast towards the end of this issue. And man, it was just fun seeing all the different inner workings of how things go and how the families treat each other and how they perceive society and stuff like that. Like, I want to see like what happens there. Like, will somebody possibly overthrow the families, and will things go back to the normal, like them not running society? Because nobody knows about them, and nobody knows about this game that they play, which is really interesting, how they can keep it a secret for like centuries almost. And I want to see where exactly that goes. But yeah, fun first issue. I would love to hear your thoughts and what you think about Exquisite Corpses. I'm Otaku Mike. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out. Stay safe.